All right, welcome back to the 5th and final round of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship here at Okayama Circuit. Couple battles in here. Wataru Masuyama making it through to the top 16, as well as Daisuke Hara. And now we find ourselves, and also moving on was Yusuke Kusaba. So 3 battles in, and one to pay very close attention to here as Andrew Gray takes his first battle of the afternoon against Tadahiro Fukuoda, a championship battle. Gray qualified 9, 24th place for Fukuoda. Gray out front. Nicely done there by Gray. We know he's got the speed. Fukuoda comes offline a little bit, uses that to get close, to gain proximity here, but Gray out front looking pretty solid. We haven't seen many drivers go deep into that third outside zone. And Fukuoda buttons up the back end there. Ryan, as we take a look at this one more time, let's talk about both the lead and chase driver responsibilities and what you saw on that run.
Well, right away you can see Fukuoda jumping the light because he knows Andrew Gray has a lot of power and a lot of grip. So he did time that really well. You can see that he was pretty close to him up to initiation. But right there, Fukuoda fell off. You can see the gap already being built. Fukuoda not really running a high level of angle, missed outside zone 1 altogether. Andrew Gray had a big lift at outside zone number 2, which gave Fukuoda the opportunity. Sorry, Andrew Gray had the big lift at the touch and go. As he transitioned for outside zone 2, you could see that Fukuoda jumped right in there and got nice and close and kind of maintained that proximity through the rest of the run. But Fukuoda did not do a great job up until that point. He entirely missed outside zone 1, low angle, so he wasn't doing a great job there, and I'm not sure what quite happened there because he was so close to Andrew right up to initiation, and as soon as they got the car sideways, Fukuoda fell off. So in the lead position now, Fukuoda can take an advantage here by decelling in the proper area. So running with angle through outside to touch and go, getting the car rotated for outside zone 2, and then slowing down. If he did that a little bit cleaner, he could potentially, with doing everything else equally to what Andrew Gray did in his lead, actually get a little bit of an advantage in the lead position. In the chase, Andrew Gray's got to mimic better than what Fukuoda did and stay closer.
Second half of the run here, Okayama International Circuit. A cool and breezy afternoon, bit of a contrast from yesterday, and it is going to be a red flag to kick off the second run. So obviously a little bit of anxiety penetrating some of the drivers here this morning as they try to give the best result they can for this 5th and final round.
It looked like Fukuoda jumped the light on that one. There were no cones hit. The flag went up before he even made the little turn through the kink of the chicane. So it looked like it was just a slight jump there on the light. Got a little bit excited, as you said. Some anxiety, tension running high here. Fukuoda knows that he needs to put together a really great lead run.
All right, so second half of the run, both drivers repositioned at the start line.
Lights are off. There we go.
Here we go. Fukuoda's got some work to do, but Andrew Gray cannot underestimate him at all. In the lead position is Fukuoda, getting a nice little smooth initiation there. Back on throttle after the e-brake pull, pulling out. Just gets into that zone a little bit late, but Gray keeping the pressure on, trying to follow him right out to that touch and go. Fukuoda looking pretty good here through that center section. Gray trying to close the door here, and this is a must-win for Andrew Gray if he wants to win a 4th championship.
That was a nice run from Fukuoda in the lead position, did a great job in outside zone 1, but watch Andrew Gray. Mimicked him every step of the way. Everywhere Fukuoda went, Andrew Gray went. He was matching his line, he was matching his angle, and he was matching his transition. So if you see Fukuoda getting in a little bit late to outside zone 1, you see right behind him there, Andrew Gray. Andrew Gray did a pretty good job through that infield section there, or the straight section where he had to transition to the touch and go and then to outside zone 2. Did an awesome job all the way up the hill through the finish line of maintaining proximity, and it was a consistent amount of proximity all the way throughout the run. He wasn't surging, falling back, but did stay there right on his door through the entirety of the run.
And it looks like Andrew Gray skirted through this one here. He's going to be one step closer. He'll move on to the top 16.
But he does need to clean up that lead run for his next battle. When he does get to the top 16, he will be battling Kusaba. And in the lead position, he's going to have to be really careful with that decel at the touch and go, which is something we're really being strict on here today.
Well, you can see the driver there on the right-hand side of your screen. Kudai Soba Giri, very impressive yesterday for a large chunk of qualifying, was actually leading the overall number, got right up there, I believe, at a 92. And he came in and finished at 4th place in qualifying, and that's put him in a pretty good position here. But he does have to take on a pretty strong veteran in Manabu Fujinaka, who did not have the best qualifying yesterday, came in 29th place. And here comes Fujinaka in the background there.
So Fujinaka is running one of those FDRX7s that kind of was the teammate with Mad Mike Woodette when he was here. It's the same team that runs his program that ran Mad Mike's program as well.
The TCP Magic folks.
That's it. You got it. So a different car, though. This is the car that Fujinaka drives. Mad Mike's car, from what I understand, is sleeping quietly back at the shop, ready for perhaps another event for him to drive before the end of this year. Should not FD Japan, clearly, as this is our last round, but he might be competing in Japan later this year.
All right, next battle is underway here. Soba Giri has been looking solid on his initiations. This time he kind of slow rolls it, but keeps the tires moving forward. No major e-brake there. He's on a tight line, though. The judges could look at this as an attempt, even if it's not. Oh no, and look at that. Fujinaka goes way off course. Just as I was about to say that Subagiri, it looked like he was cutting the line again a little bit. Probably not intentionally, but the judges do look at that as trying to get away. Manabu Fujinaka in the chase position actually went completely off course right at outside zone number 2.
Yeah, this is not what we expected from Sobagiri. We saw a really great qualifying run yesterday. I believe it was a 92-point score. He had set the bar high fairly early, and now looking at his initiation, did an all right job there on the rotation to initiation to angle there at initiation, but missed outside zone 1 entirely. Got himself out to the touch and go, rotated for outside zone number 2, and that's the point at which Fujinaka just decided to go straight off the track. 4 wheels off, and kind of a half spin there just before the outside edge of the track. So that's definitely an incomplete from Fujinaka in the chase position. But in the lead position, we have seen much better from Sobagiri. And, lead to lead now, looking at what Fujinaka has to put together, if he wants to have any chance at all here, he needs to outdo what Sobagiri just did. And he has a great opportunity because Sobagiri missed outside zone 1 completely, and that's one area that in qualifying was worth 10 points alone for line and angle. So it's a pretty significant part of the track, and I think that Fujinaka can get a big advantage if he fills that and does a good job through the rest of the course. Lead-to-lead comparisons, he could have an advantage. Now, looking at the chase-to-chase, he would have to hope that Sobagiri incomplete somehow, either by going off track, spinning, or just straightening up otherwise.
And what do you think happened there to Fujinaka? It seemed like he just wasn't able to rotate in the right position.
Yeah, it looked like he fell off line-wise a little bit right off the bat, and then was just trying to catch up and just placed the car improperly there, coming from the touch and go to outside zone 2.
All right, Fujinaka, big hill to climb here. Let's see what he can do on his initiation. Not too shabby. E-brake pull now.
Whoa.
Back on throttle. Sobagiri closing hard, and he's going to fall off. But on the inside line there is Fujinaka. So a little bit of a tangle up there at the beginning, and now Sobagiri trying to close the door. Sobagiri understeers there as he loses angle in the chase position, trying to close the door. And as Ryan said, it would require an incomplete from Sobagiri to force a lead-to-lead comparison. So let's take a look at this again, Ryan, and break down what happened.
From our perspective, it looked like Sobagiri in the chase was going to drive into the side of Fujinaka after initiation. He was coming in very fast. You could see Fujinaka gets sideways, and look at how he's catching up in the chase. But then he overshoots and goes on a wide line, which is technically where Fujinaka should have been in the lead. But then from this point on, he's trying to catch up. You see he's making a lot of compromises in the chase, straightens up completely right there, and that would constitute an incomplete for Sobagiri. Now Fujinaka in the lead definitely could have been better. Outside zone 1 was ignored almost entirely by Fujinaka, just as it was by Sobagiri. So lead to lead, it might actually be a one more time just based on the comparison of how similar they were. And you can see there how Sobagiri really dove in on initiation. And
was it because he was closing, thinking that Fujinaka was going to be on a a proper line in outside zone 1. If Fujinaka was on that proper line, would he have closed, or would it have looked as dramatically on the close?
That's hard to say. It's, you know, Soba Giri should have been matching what Fujinaka was doing in the lead position, and he just seemed to run his own thing there. But I guess he had an expectation that Fujinaka was going to go wider in that area. So, yeah.
But the big straightening there, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Independent of the first part of the run.
Right. So that's 2 incompletes in the chase position, which, like you said, forces a lead-to-lead comparison.
So we saw the 2 incompletes in the chase. Both lead runs, you know, had a fair share of mistakes as well, Ryan. So I'm curious as to how this is all going to play out if you guys are on the same page here. Let's take a look. Robbie Nishida goes one more time. You went one more time. That'll guarantee it. And all 3 judges unanimous. It's a one more time battle. So that seemed like that was starting to brew up there, that was going to be probably what took place. And we will see those guys go one more time. On the line there, Tomoki Tanaka and Misao Minowa are our next drivers up. 13th qualification for Tanaka, and Minowa coming in at a strong 20th. Both females that we saw in competition yesterday both made it into head-to-head action as well. So we will see them. And as we wait for Misao, here she comes.
She is the one, she's one of the cars that I mentioned earlier that went into the wall at outside zone 3 during practice today. So she does have a body panel or 3 missing on her car. You can see as she pulls up, there's no front bumper. There may even be a front fender missing on that car just because of the really quick repair job they had to do in their pit area between that. It was pretty late in practice, maybe mid practice session that occurred. So they had to work really quickly to try to get that fixed, and I guess the aesthetic part took a back seat there. As long as the car works, get it to the line, and let her battle. So she jumps the light a little bit there, which she can do in the chase position.
All right, so both drivers off. Mid-course to the outside part of the track there for Tanaka, and he starts slowing down in outside zone 1. Minowa makes a big adjustment in her angle as well. And she looks like she might have almost spun out there on the touch and go, and she does come to a complete lack of angle there right at the beginning of the crossover, and also there coming through that final inside clip, so struggling. And we did not really see this kind of behavior from her yesterday. You have to wonder how much of a role that big hit played in the way that her car is set up right now and how much they were able to get to it, Ryan.
Yeah, clearly there's something wrong with the maybe alignment, front-end geometry. Something's up there based on what we're seeing with her driving, because she was definitely doing a lot better than this. And in the lead position, though, Tanaka is not doing a great job. He is lucky that she's having those issues in the chase position right now, because he is putting together a pretty sloppy run of his own. You can see a lot of over-rotation in areas, really chopping the track up. He's not smoothly getting through the course. He's slowing down in some really awkward areas, such as outside zone 1. And again, he's just lucky that she's having issues with her car. Otherwise, she'd be putting up a lot more of a fight, and he'd have some trouble on his hands there. But now going to the opposite positions as they come back to the line. Minowa needs to put together that clean lead run, right? She does have an opportunity to better what he did, except she's having, it looks like, trouble with her car. So I don't know how well she's going to be able to put together a lead run with her car not quite working the way she is hoping that it would.
All right, so second half of the battle about to be underway here. Obviously some mistakes probably related to mechanical issues from the wreck that she had in practice. And you have to wonder what Tanaka's strategy will be here. How closely will he follow, given that information? Mid-course approach. Slow rolls it. Looks like a little tentative there.
Yeah.
And the smoke line really only coming into play now as she starts to get on the throttle. Looks a little bit better out front. And Tanaka closes the door as Misao takes a very tight line through the crossover. Now sweeping through that final inside clip with Tanaka coming through. Looks like this should be a fairly easy call for the judges here, even though Misao did put together a much better lead run. It was the chase that was really the downfall there, Ryan.
Yeah, her pace throughout the entire course, right from the run-up to initiation to the initiation itself, you could tell she was being careful. She knew that her car wasn't 100%, and she had to drive it way more carefully. So some very, calm, dainty inputs on the steering wheel, letting the car move around. And you can see that rotation almost got her right there at outside zone number 2, because that car is not really reacting the way that she's probably hoping that it would react. She got through the run. She has a full pull, but it was definitely on the very safe, very low energy, let's call it, just based on her trying to not spin out, basically.
All right, Tomoki Tanaka will get the unanimous victory here against Masao Minowa, as she will be knocked out in the top 32. Up next, it looks like we are preparing to get our next drivers, and there he is, championship contender. Must win for him. We've obviously seen Gray already get through, as well as Masuyama. So you have 3 championship contenders in the top 5 on the left-hand side of the bracket. On the right-hand side of the bracket, you've got Katsuhiro Ueo and Koichi Yamashita. And really, I think Shinji is probably the best. He has the best position in the bracket because he does not have any championship contenders that he could potentially face until the final 4. And that would either be Gray or Masuyama if they make it through. Whereas Gray and Masuyama will face each other in the Great 8 if they win their next battle. Yamashita and Ueo would face each other in the Great 8 if they win their successive battles as well. So Shinji actually has the best positioning, I think, of all the championship contenders to make it as far as he possibly can without actually having to face one of those contenders. But that doesn't mean that there's not tough battles to come. Here we go, Minowa and Hashi. Masakazu Hashi, the 28th qualifier. This has been the typical initiation for Minowa, using the full course. The tire drop there from Hashi in the chase position. Minowa trying to get out to that outside zone. He does do that. Hashi trying to not let him get away. Moving into the second outside zone. He's pushing wide. Uh-oh, very close, and he unwinds it a little bit there through the smoke line. Looked like he was getting pretty close to that outside wall in outside zone 3 and made a smart move to adjust as opposed to possibly risking the vehicle. But let's take a look at this again, Ryan. How hard is it to follow this approach to the initiation from Minowa?
Well, you can see that in the chase position there, Hashi did his own initiation, kind of just making sure he did it at the right spot, but definitely dropped the tire. He wasn't really mimicking the style, which he doesn't have to, of the lead driver. So he did a great job, just needed to keep it on track a little bit better there. And his major mistake was at outside zone 3, where he unwound the wheel, got the car not straight completely, but definitely less angle than you'd want to be through there. Let's look at it from the drone. This should give us a nice view of that initiation as the cars rotate. Look at Shinji, does a little flick, gets the car to angle. Hashi did a great job timing-wise getting the car to get sideways as he expected Shinji to get to angle. So that was a great job by him, and he dove in right here at outside zone 2, but then right here falls off, loses some angle, but Shinji in the lead looked pretty solid, getting the car where it needed to be, decelling, it looked like, in the right position, and having some nice transitions throughout the course, and did a pretty good job in the lead. So Hashi's got his work cut out for him right now if he wants to outdo Shinji's lead run.
All right, so taking a look as both drivers come back to the line. It'll now be Hashi's turn to take the lead here against Minowa. Goes without saying, it's a must-win for him. As a championship contender, very tight championship, as we spoke about at the beginning of the broadcast, just about 50 points separating first and fifth place. So it's going to come down to the wire here. Minowa marrying him from the onset, but drops that tire. Falls back a little bit, loses some angle here. Hashi, a little bit of adjustment from him as well, leaving outside zone 1. Now coming into the touch and go. This is where Minowa can attack, coming through the center section. Uh-oh, he loses a tiny bit of angle for a second, but now starts to close the door. Hashi, nice transition back around to that final inside clip, and the run is over.
Let's watch this initiation, Ryan. How similar was that?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Just a little tire drop there from Minowa in the chase.
Yeah, just like Hoshi did in his chase. Pretty much the exact same style of initiation from both of them, from run to run 2. So you see Shinji falls off a little bit there. Hoshi does not do well in outside zone 1 at all. Shinji doing a great job of mimicking through here. A little tire drop, and then through this section, a little bit of a better job from Shinji there in the chase position as you compare chase to chase. And lead to lead, I think Shinji did a better job as well. So I'll put my little vote in here, and we'll see what happens.
All right, so waiting for the results to come in. Second to last battle on the left-hand side of the bracket. It looks to be going the way of Minowa, and that'll be enough to secure it. And there is a unanimous victory for Shinji Minowa. Gets the job done in the top 32.
Minowa.
Our last battle of the left-hand side of the bracket finds Kazuya By, who stood up top. Actually, we're going to go back to the one more time. But we will preface that by saying our last battle on the left-hand side of the bracket is Kazuya By and Hideyuki Fujino. That should be a great matchup. But going back to the one more time, the R31 of Kudai Soba Giri taking on Manabu Fujinaka in the FD. It was a unanimous one more time across the board. And here we go. First run of the one more time battle. Nice little snap there. Cleaner start from both drivers this time around. Soba Giri, good angle, comes off the first outside zone a little bit early, but this time Fujinaka much better positioned. Uh-oh, but he comes up on the inside here. Doesn't follow Soba Giri all the way out over that crossover into outside zone 3. But this time we do not see an incomplete, so much more well-rounded this time around from Fujinaka. Still a couple of little mistakes. Soba Giri, not the same kind of pizzazz that we saw, Ryan, from him in his qualifying runs, but let's take a look at it again.
Yeah, this is a much better job from Soba Giri in the lead position of fulfilling the lead driver goal. So look at how well he fills outside zone 1, gets right on that rumble strip, leaves it maybe a couple of feet early, but really great job there. Does an okay job on outside zone 2, could have been deeper, but that's where Fujinaka really fell off. He didn't go fully wide there, ended up on an inside line, and was kind of struggling to keep up from that point on, and that's really where it fell apart for Fujinaka in the chase position. Now in the lead to lead, as Fujinaka gets into the lead position now, he has not a whole lot of opportunities to better. He could maybe fill outside zone 1 a little bit better, get deeper in zone 2, deeper in zone 3, but that was a pretty solid lead run from Soba Giri in terms of placing his car. He did decel where he wasn't supposed to in outside zone, or sorry, touch and go number 1. So that's an area that Fujinaka could stay on throttle through better and have a better flow through to outside zone 2. And it might actually help him fill outside zone 2 a little bit better as well.
All right, so drivers making the trek back around from the backside of the track right here into the start line. Switching positions here. 808 beat will be out front. Number 31 chasing him down. Looks like they've been given the signal to go. Light goes red. And here we go, second half. Getting out of the gate approximately at the same time. Through the chicane there is Fujinaka. Mid-course, initiates right there at the third standing cone. Big angle once again. It looks like we had contact there. And a similar occurrence from Soba Giri, where it looked like he was really breathing down the backside of Fujinaka. Let's take a look at it one more time, Ryan, and I'm sure that the drone will be very helpful here.
Yeah, it looks like he just gets really aggressive on initiation and doesn't. I don't know how that keeps happening in that area. Let's watch the overhead and see what happens from this view. This should help us tremendously in the to actually see what happened in this situation. So you see him getting to angle. Soba Giri's car just looks a lot looser. It just looks like he's able to maintain speed through there a lot better, and doesn't adapt to what Fujinaka's doing in the lead position. and ends up hitting him. And this was something that we had almost seen on the previous battle, but Tsubagiri was actually on a different line and kind of went behind Fujinaka. In this case, he was beside him and had nowhere to go.
Is the over-rotation, the angling up by Soba Giri, an indication of coming in too hot, trying to make that angle adjustment to avoid contact, but obviously it didn't go that way?
Yeah, it kind of looked like he was trying to angle up to slow the car down, but it didn't help enough. Let me see what these two guys are looking at me over here. Hang on.
So that was the second run. We will see a decision here. Obviously, it will go in the direction of Fujinaka if they believe that Soba Giri was at fault there, because it was a collision. It did end the run, so there would need to be an incomplete given to one of the either drivers. And just from Ryan's side of things, it seems as if he's leaning that direction. But here's another look at it here from this angle.
So this is the second run of the battle. We don't really have to find fault or anything like that, you know, to assess who gets a competition timeout or anything like that, because the battle's over. So we just need to find a winner, essentially.
All right, so scene scores starting to be punched in by the judges, as well as some note-taking here as well.
It just looked like Sobagiri was a little too anxious there. Didn't adapt to what the lead driver was doing. Clearly, we're going to have some faster and slower cars on these tracks, and you just need to adapt to that. You know, you can't just plow through other drivers that are doing their thing. It didn't look like Fujinaka was braking or slowing down in any way there. He was maintaining pace and getting back on throttle, and then gets kind of slammed into. So Sobagiri is going to need to learn to adjust to what those lead drivers are doing when the lead drivers are doing what they're supposed to do, essentially.
A unanimous victory there for Manabu Fujinaka. Quite an upset here just relative to the qualifying positions. And we did see him as kind of a shining star yesterday, but Sobagiri will bow out of competition, and we'll move right along to this battle here. Kazuya By taking on Hideyuki Fujino.
Fujino yesterday had no power steering during qualifying.
Okay.
Had a failure there and managed to put together some pretty great runs. So let's see what he can do with power steering.
He was very fast, and By was really checking the boxes. So we'll see how these two much different vehicles. Oh, wow. That was very odd.
That looked like the lead driver slowing down significantly, and it looked like the chase driver was trying to not plow into him. So this is a very different situation than what we just saw from Sobagiri.
Yeah, there was
Fujinaka.
Definitely something going on with both drivers. It was first apparent by Fujino in the chase, but as we looked and transitioned to the other shot, it looked like also By was slowing down into outside zone 1. Let's take a look at it again, Ryan, and see if you can walk us through it.
Yeah, on first blush, it looked like By was just trying not to go off track. So you see no smoke,
down,
no smoke.
Yep.
And then in the chase position, you've got a driver trying to avoid contact with that lead driver, you know, trying not to crash his Ferrari, and trying to avoid him by going off track and avoiding contact.
So in that case, because there was no actual contact, the run will be judged as is. But if there was any damage that was sustained to either of the vehicles by going off of course, then we would have to assess fault there. Ryan, it sounds like from your perspective, it looks like the slowing down from By was being done in an inappropriate area that should be an on-throttle area,
yes,
flowing consistently through there. Does that seem to be the opinion of the other two judges?
Yes, we need to be really strict on what the lead drivers are doing and what they're supposed to do so that we can have good battles. And if you don't control that, it's going to be pandemoniums here. So look at no throttle, no throttle, no throttle, no throttle, no throttle. Chase driver has absolutely nowhere to go. If he was trying to not straighten, essentially, right? He's trying to avoid contact while maintaining angle, and that caused him to go off course. Now, that is in no way the chase driver's fault in that case. We all agree that the lead driver was off throttle where he was not supposed to be off throttle. So that is an incomplete for By. So, you know, it might look like Fujino is the one that went off course and should be given the incomplete, but we're kind of transferring that fault over to By for not doing what he's supposed to in the lead.
Well, this may be a quick battle here because Fujino is incredibly fast, and he may get away from By here, but he does still need to do some work. He's got to stay. Uh-oh, he's going to come up a little bit short on that first outside zone as well. Does not want to get an incomplete himself. Struggling yesterday with the power steering, but can he get through this final turn here? Good angle leaving the third outside zone, though he comes up a little bit short on that final inside clip. Some mistakes there from Fujino out front, left a little bit to be desired on that first outside zone, Ryan, but no incompletes there or anything of similarity to what we saw from By in his lead run.
You're right. Looks like in the lead position, Fujino did great initiation right there, just did not get out to outside zone 1. You can see there's a definite lack of line going out to that outside zone 1 area, back on throttle through the touch and go and then outside zone 2. In the chase, By is not really close, not really putting any pressure on, just kind of 2-3 car lengths back, mimicking as best as he can, but there's really no pressure being put on by in the chase.
All right, so what seems to be coming down the pipeline is going to be coming official here in just a moment. There it is, Kazuya By versus Hideyuki Fujino. And we got a one more time from Robbie Nishida, and Andy Yen and Ryan Lantain go with Fujino. So Ryan, I'd love to get some investigation on that. Was it? Did Robbie think equal fault there or something? Or
let me ask.
All right, while we wait for some feedback from Robbie Nishida, he's actually doing kind of triple duty here this weekend. He's doing Japanese commentating, judging, and he's also talking to us from time to time and interviewing people and translating. Katsuhiro Ueo, Saori Iwasaki, our next battle up. Katsuhiro Ueo was quite the standout driver yesterday, just came up short of that #1 qualifying position, slotted in at that 2 spot. Iwasaki, on the other hand, just making it in at position 31. Now, we all know, as fans of Formula Drift Japan, that Katsuhiro Ueo is quite a madman, and we can expect him to get out of the gate really fast here. Ryan, we'll come back to the Robbie Nishida thing as soon as we get through this run.
Sure. I don't actually have an answer for you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were looking at me like, hey, I got something for you.
Not at all.
So there you go. You see the explosion out of the gate by Ueo. Now, let's just keep a look at his lead run here, because I think he is going to pull so far ahead. There's really going to have to be a need to pan super wide from the cameraman. Iwasaki out of view there for a second as we go to the overhead. Gives you a better position of how many car lengths back. I think we kind of saw that brewing a little bit, and Iwasaki down on power relative to Ueo, Ryan. But from a judge's perspective, I mean, really, how do you approach that when you have that big of a gap?
Well, what I was going to say off the start is that this is 2 very different drivers that we're going to be watching here. There's the crazy Ueo, really fast, very aggressive, and a little bit more calculated, slower Saori in the chase position, and this is exactly what we got. Saori's doing her best in the chase position. She clearly does not have the power that Ueo does to keep up to what he's doing. And in this case, there's essentially no chase happening at all. The proximity is 0, essentially. Can't really call that a tandem battle. Now, that is looking bad for Saori, but when Saori gets to the lead position, she's going to be running her pace. She's going to be doing her thing as she has the right to do in the lead position. And we're going to have to try to wrangle in that Ueo a little bit and try to get him to follow that run. And this is where the big challenge is going to be for Ueo. Sure, he can go and run his crazy lead run like he does all the time, but how is he going to be able to wrangle in that car when he comes to following a much slower lead in this next run? That's going to be his big challenge right now.
Well, truly a David and Goliath situation here in terms of power disparity and driving style. But she is here to play, and she made it into the main show. So we've got one more run to go. As you said, this is when it gets the most interesting, Ryan, because Ueo really needs to think about not overdoing it here. He's got a good opportunity to win this battle in the top 32 after that nice run. And there he actually opts to kind of get out of the gate much later as the chase driver. So that is a sign that he is playing the right game here. Iwasaki initiates. Ueo just staying back. You can see already starting to close the door. This is where it's going to get a little bit hairy. He does the right thing there, angles up to not get super close to where he's going to get pinched off. And I would say, Ryan, 75% of the way through the run, this was very well executed by Katsuhiro Ueo. And I think he pulled off a pretty good result there.
He calculated that perfectly. This is a man with a lot of experience. He knows how to adapt to a slower car. Clearly, this isn't his first time doing this, but great job by Saori in the lead position. She put together a pretty decent lead run, although slower. She did hit all her points except outside zone 1. The rest of the run here, look, she transitions out to the touch and go. She transitions over to outside zone number 2, gets out to outside zone number 3 pretty well, flows really well through the course. She decelled where she was supposed to. It was a nice clean lead run from Saori. Unfortunately, she just had in terms of a competitor to go up against, she went up against a tornado, Ueo, and there's just nothing she could do in the chase position, unfortunately.
Well, thank you from wherever you are watching around the world. We see we've got Trey Taylor in the mix and a bunch of regular friends and family joining us here today. Let's make it official with Katsuhiro Ueo getting the unanimous victory over Saori Iwasaki. He will move on. And as we mentioned, Ueo in that 5th place currently right now in the championship. So all 4 contenders, minus Koichi Yamashita, who has yet to come, have made it into the top 16. And he will be the next battle after this one that is starting to come up to the start line now. It should be Jin Harino and Kanta Yanaguida.
We have some updates, Ryan.
Go ahead.
Kitashiba is broken, and he'll be out of competition. So that's he's going up a bit against Matsukawa in a couple of battles from now. But he will be out of competition, unfortunately. And Matsukawa will get a bye run.
All right, so Kitashiba in the 86, the Sunoco 86, taking on Kazuya Matsukawa with that AE 85. Tremendous runs yesterday from him. Very aggressive and quite the fan favorite, generally speaking, from people that I've seen anecdotally and that have been talking to us. So that'll be Matsukawa getting a free ride in the top 16. He'll probably take his bye run. But we'll focus our attention back here to Kanta Yanaguida versus Jin Harino. A relatively atypical qualifying session for Yanaguida, who has been quite stellar this year overall. He came in at the number 18 18th qualifier. Jin Harino right near him as well in the 15th place. And these two will do battle right now. So Harino out front as the higher qualified driver. Nice little weight transfer, breaking it loose the other way. And Yanaguida trying to nose in here. Way on the inside and then pushes out to a little bit of an odd line there. And outside zone 1 is Harino. Yanaguida keeping his eyes on him, comes off outside zone a little bit early to try to gain proximity. Harino wrapping through this final inside clip, tucking up on the inside there is Yanaguida, not able to fully get door to door, but keeping nice relative proximity there. Seems like a couple little mistakes from both sides, Ryan, but as we switch things up, what was the takeaway from run number 1?
Jin Harino definitely left a lot of parts of this track untouched, which he should have been getting out to. Outside zone 1 being the primary among them. That was the last maybe third of that zone that he got to, so he really wasn't out there at all. Didn't get to the touch and go. Slowed down awkwardly there coming to outside zone 2. So not really fulfilling the lead driver responsibilities. Now, if you've got a driver that's doing some poor lines, some awkward transitions, and some decells in areas you're not supposed to, do you really expect the chase driver to be putting together a stellar chase run? You know, a lot of the mistakes from the chase driver can be not completely forgiven, just slightly maybe lowered in their how important they really are in terms of what that chase driver was doing, because the lead driver is leading them into these awkward places to have to chase from. Part of the reason why we lay the tracks out the way that we do is to make for good tandem battles, right? It gives the chase driver a lot of good positions to be in. It gives them room to get their car into the proper position in the chase. And that's also part of the reason why we put a touch and go there instead of an inside clip this year, because with that inside clip, it made it really tough for the chase cars to get through there, especially when the lead car ran a little lower angle. But putting an outside zone area, like a touch and go like that, gives the chase driver more of an opportunity to chase. But if the lead driver's not doing what they're supposed to, the chase driver can't either.
All right, so this time Janaguida, the young driver, takes the lead out front. Pretty smooth initiation there. Starts to pull a little bit of a gap on Moreno. Gets into that first outside zone a little bit late, but does fill it completely. Nice job on the touch and go. The decel through outside zone 2. Moreno trying to close the door, but Janaguida looks a little bit quicker through this section here. Big smoke line wrapping through that final inside clip and through the finish line.
Much better job from Janaguida in the lead position. Did a great job through outside zone 1. Put the car almost all the way through that outside zone 1, right on the rumble strip. And I think that is going to set the tone for this whole run. The chase driver should have been close, should have all the opportunity to chase properly because of that great lead run. Look at the transition here to the touch and go, beautifully done. Just drops the tire slightly, gets into outside zone 2, decels properly, and then gets back on throttle through outside zone 3. And then the chase, you've got Jin Moreno really not putting any pressure on, despite that really high quality lead run that he could have put together a good chase run behind. So I think that Janaguida did a much better job lead to lead comparison, and because of Jin Moreno's poor lead, I forgave some of Janaguida's mistakes in the chase position based on that poor lead.
All right, so let's go to the judges now for the official result between Kanta Janaguida and Jin Moreno. One more time from Robbie Nishida. So once again, he comes in contrast to you and Andy Yen, Ryan. But it will be a win for the young Janaguida. So I can see Ryan Lantain conversing with Robbie Nishida, trying to get some insight. I think I heard him say that he thought that Janaguida's chase was a little bit left to be desired.
In that case there, Robbie just didn't see the lead run from Jin Moreno being as bad as I did, so he just kind of saw it as a wash. He saw that he thought that Kanta should have done a better job in the chase position, and he didn't. So he put that more on Kanta in the chase, so it was kind of a wash from both of them, and hence the one more time.
All right, quickly going to our next matchup, and it's a big one here. Goichi Yamashita and Takatoshi Imam. Yamashita sitting second in points right now. Must win for him. Nice little snap into the initiation. Back on throttle, reaching out. Goes a bit deep into outside zone 1, but on a tighter line there was Imam. They almost made contact. Now going into outside zone 2. There you go. Yamashita gets deep into outside zone 3 and pushing too wide is Imam. A bit crazy here as both drivers made a couple of mistakes of over-aggressiveness. One into outside zone 1 with Yamashita in the lead, and then leaving that final crossover, Ryan, from outside zone 3 from Imam.
Yeah, I saw a straighten from Imam there. We'll have to look at this on the replay. In the lead position, Yamashita goes way off course here, almost 3 tires off. He's very lucky that front left stayed on the rumble strip, so that's a solid 2 tires off. Now watch Imam through the outside zone 3 area. Straightens up completely and has to reinitiate through there. So big mistake from Imam there, and low angle by inside clip 1 from Imam. You can see he fell off pretty significantly there after outside zone 3. Let's look at this from the overhead view, our handy little stationary drone. Great initiation from Yamashita. Imam not so great. He really didn't rotate that car very well, and you can see very low angle there, tighter line than Yamashita, but Yamashita definitely dropped some tires. And this is going to be what I'm looking for from Imam. Yeah, quite a bit of straightening there from him. Goes wide and then low angle coming up the hill towards the finish line. So yes, Yamashita went a couple of tires off. Definitely not unchaseable in any kind of way. He was on throttle, maintaining momentum, and it looked really great. And in the chase position, Imam wasn't really mimicking what Yamashita was doing through the majority of the course, and actually had a pretty big straighten through the outside zone 3 area. So some angle lacking from Imam, and although maintaining proximity, was not really doing a great job of mimicking what the lead was doing.
Second half of the battle underway here between Imam and Yamashita. Very sweeping initiation, going off course, nearly dropping 2 tires there. He's going to be way on the inside with low angle. Yamashita having to play back, stay back a little bit. Looking a little out of sorts here was Imam. Uh-oh, and another loss of angle there. As we come through that final section of turns, it looks like Imam was being a bit too aggressive there, Ryan, and was not able to really find that settling feeling in the vehicle out front.
He made that first mistake right at initiation, and it ruined his whole lap. So you can see here as he rotates the car to angle, drops 2 tires off into the dirt, and just gets way offline through the rest of the run. Can't get out to outside zone number 1. Barely any angle through that area. Low angle at touch and go, and a big slowdown at the touch and go as well. So not decelling, not using that area properly. Loses angle again at outside zone 3. Just not really confident. The car doesn't look settled. He looks like he's struggling to keep up with the car. It looks like he's overdriving a little bit, and it could be due to the fact that he did drop those 2 tires early on, which really messed up his line and kind of put him in the wrong headspace maybe for the entire run. And you can see there, all 3 of us do choose Yamashita. So Yamashita will move on, and it'll keep his championship hope alive. Right now, we've got the current leaders of the championship all have made it through so far. Masuyama, Gray, Minoa, and now you've got Ueo in there as well, and Yamashita also. I don't know, in the background you might be able to hear dozens of Lamborghinis flying onto the track, making all kinds of noise, and they'll probably be coming out on the track after the top 32 is completed to do a parade lap. And it's a little distracting right now as they all fly onto the course behind us over here. Sounds pretty nice.
Yes, the car freaks are out today, and it's a fun time for everybody. This is a great way to cap off the last event of the year. It's a beautiful facility up here in the mountains in Okayama Prefecture. We are sequestered here, similar to Okiabuki, so we've been staying in our little condos over there, which is basically a room and a shower. But we love it, and it's beautiful weather here this weekend. Our next battle up, Kazuki, Hayashi, Kazuhiro Kubo. Hayashi out front. Qualified 10th. And he's looking pretty solid out front in the lead. Kubo also following that line. A bit off that touch and go and also outside zone 2, but Kubo making a good adjustment, just not really slamming the door on the proximity. Here he comes now. But Hayashi's able to wrap through that final inside clip and keep a little bit of distance there. Let's take a look at it again.
Great job by Kubo in the chase position of mimicking what the lead driver's doing, even when the lead driver's not doing what they're supposed to. So look at the way Hayashi gets to angle. Kind of a slow rotation there, not great, but Kubo actually does a better job in the chase. Right here in the lead position, Hayashi's going to drop a tire. Kubo's right there with him. Transition through here, missing that touch and go a bit, missing outside zone number 2. Kubo's right there with him. Not really close on proximity, you know, super tight, but he's definitely mimicking what the lead driver's doing from a couple of lengths behind. So Hayashi in the lead position is making a couple of errors. You know, he did drop a tire in outside zone 1, missed the touch and go, missed outside zone 2, wasn't super deep on 3. So, you know, from a lead-to-lead comparison standpoint, it looks like Kubo has an opportunity to improve upon what Hayashi just did and potentially win on the lead-to-lead comparisons. And in the chase position, Hayashi's going to have to stick with Kubo. He's going to have to mimic him every step of the way because Kubo is clearly listening in the driver's meeting. He did a great job of mimicking what that lead driver did all throughout the course.
All right, so taking a look here as both drivers come back to the start line.
Oh, that wind really picked up, huh?
Yeah, nice little breeze coming up from the south, I think. Right behind us, pushing everything off of the track pretty quickly here. But much cooler today, probably 10 degrees cooler, so you have to wonder how that is playing a role on driver setups. Did get an hour of practice this morning. Kubo in the lead now. Hayashi right on that back bumper. Is trying to make up some ground now. Does not want to leave it in the judge's hands. Good angle there by Kubo. Comes over to the other side of the course. Drops a little bit of a tire, a brush with outside zone 2. Hayashi trying to close the door. Big angle from Kubo, leaving that crossover section, and a nice transition there up in the pocket by Hayashi. So that second battle, much more competitive from both drivers. Ryan, let's take a look here as Kubo was the lead on the second half.
I was expecting a bigger initiation from Kubo here, but he did much the same that Hayashi did on his initiation in the lead. And he kind of had that slow roll, but gets to a decent amount of angle, misses the beginning of outside zone 1, but fills the kind of the second half of it without going over. Drops a tire in the touch and go, not quite all the way out to outside zone 2. Did a good job on zone 3. Nice angle there as he exits that little infield section and then coming up the hill. Hayashi, I think his proximity was better throughout the run. So chase to chase, it looks like Hayashi might have had the better of the two. On the lead to lead comparisons, it's hard to say which one did better there. You know, they both made a couple of mistakes here and there, and it might end up coming down to having to see it one more time.
So a pretty fair battle there. And let's see what the judges think. Kazuki Hayashi gets one from Robbie Nishida. Ryan Lantain goes one more time, and Andy Yen, the deciding factor, goes to Kazuki Hayashi, who looks like he probably made some good ground on his chase run, and perhaps that solidified it for those two judges. Top 32 deep into the overall bracket now with just 3 more battles to go. It's 10:28 a.m. local time here in Japan. If you're joining us after the top 32, we'll have our traditional halftime break, and then we'll come back for opening ceremonies. We'll kick things off around 1:40 p.m. And this is Matsukawa. Not sure what he'll give us on this. Well, he's going to give us a nice little snap initiation there. We saw some great qualifying runs from him. Just to remind you, his competitor of Tomoyuki Kitashiba having vehicle problems, had to bow out of competition. We learned about that fairly deep into the top 32, so that must have come about news from the hot pit. So Matsukawa will get a bye run right into the top 16. So the remaining battles are Teruyoshi Iwai and Yoshimi Mori. That'll be our battle up next. Yuichi Amagai taking on Tomohiro Murayama. And Yoshichika Tamagawa and Benjamin Cheam. The lone Singaporean, you may have noticed that Shang Nian did not make it into competition. One of the few power vehicles to not do that. Had a tough time in qualifying, had an incomplete on his second run, and just fell short of the marker of 76 points is where it ended last night to make it into the top 32.
Look at that car, Ryan. Look how good that looks.
The FC heralded all the way back to Fuji when it made its debut. Everybody very excited and happy about this vehicle.
He's going to have to drive as good as that car looks right now.
And he has done that in some occasions, so I think we could be finding ourselves hopefully. Oh wow, this wind is picking up.
Yeah, it is.
Finding ourselves in for a little bit of a treat here. He'll be taking on Yoshimi Mori in the S15. EY qualified 14th, Mori 19th. EY to lead.
Look how cool that spoiler looks on that car, right from the front. Everything looks so cool on that car. The Watanabe's 17-inch deep dish. It's just a nice car.
All right, well now for the important part, the battle goes underway. EY, nice initiation, holds the angle. He has an e-brake pull, but Mori was not within proximity. He's gonna come up a little bit short on that first outside zone. Big angle there, the touch and go. Mori goes off course. All right, now it's gonna be an incomplete for Mori as it stands, but we'll want to go back and take a look at that. EY really angled up at that touch and go area. Did that play any role in Mori, or was that happening independently? There was quick action there. This center section very, very fast from the touch and go to outside zone 3. Let's watch it from the beginning and see what we can find out.
Love the initiation from EY. The way he throws this thing to angle and maintains it. Beautiful. Big handbrake, like you said, but in the chase position there, Mori is kind of far behind, so EY missing outside zone 1. In that position right there, it looks like Mori just did that on his own. Unfortunately, it looked like that line was already being taken by him to go off there, and I don't think it had anything to do with EY's big angle at the touch-and-go area. So Mori, I think, just made a mistake there, got himself positioned poorly as he came through that area and couldn't get the car transitioned. He did miss the bales, though, those big foam blocks that we have over there that may have potentially caused a little bit of damage to his car had he hit that, but managed to miss that at least.
And this touch and go is you know, pretty much point of fact the best description of a touch and go I think that we have. You know, like at Long Beach we have a touch and go that's got a little bit more distance to it. It almost is kind of like an outside zone, though, that you guys just say any point in that touch and go. This is a much more narrow touch and go where drivers are kind of in and out very, very quickly.
Yes.
And it seems like getting that right is imperative to making 2 and 3 work as well.
You're right, and you need to get through there with momentum. If you're slowing down at that touch and go, it's really going to hurt your run overall, not only in our eyes, but just in your ability to fulfill the rest of the course properly.
Mori now in the lead position, taking a much closer approach to the chicane there, right up against it. Right in the center there next to him is EY, who seems to be at an advantage at this point, at least from Ryan Lantaine's side of things.
Yeah, I spoke to the guys, and they, for the most part, agreed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like facing down the barrel is Mori, but he's got a good opportunity here to put on a solid lead run and hope that EY makes a significant enough mistake.
Mori is super tight to those cones on the driver's right side.
Gets through the chicane, and here we go. Mid-course, slow roll, stepped transition there, or initiation from Mori. EY a bit back on the line. He's almost going to go off course. Doesn't want to lose too much ground here. Mori leaves the touch and go as EY picks up the pace, driving right through the smoke line and outside zone 3. He's trying to get close here towards the last section of the course. And I think even with the bit of a timing issue from EY at after the initiation, the bigger mistake from Mori may be the overall consequence of this battle.
Yeah, he just went off a little bit wide in the chase position there and got himself off the pace of Mori and had to try to catch up. And you could tell he was kind of trying to catch up through the rest of the run. So you can see here, Mori misses the first part of outside zone 1, whereas EY is in the outside zone 1 too deep. So just kind of off pace after that because he lost proximity there by going a little bit wider. But Mori definitely missed the first half of outside zone 1 while EY overfilled it himself. So he wasn't really mimicking too great. But Mori had a full incomplete in his chase run. So that's a tough one to overcome.
Unanimous decision here. All 3 judges going in favor of Teruyoshi EY. He will move on into the top 16. And that will leave us with 2 battles left to go. As the wins, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Amagai is coming up right now. He had a hit in practice. He did tap the wall with the left rear of his car, and I think you might be able to see damage on the left rear of his car. But that outside zone 3 bit him, so we'll see how that affects him mentally as he's coming through that section today here in top 32 competition as he leads this next battle.
There is a bevy of beautiful vehicles all over this facility today.
They're still coming out.
Yeah, what we see, a few hundred Liberty Walk style type vehicles coming through with the, are we calling it, or are they calling it a car show, or we calling it a meet? What is it?
That and a parade thing going on here. The cars have just been pouring out on track here for the last 10 minutes. I don't know where they're all coming from, to be honest with you. And then a Lexus LFA just rolled by, and I believe that's one of the FIA stewards that drives that one. That is a one of the pre-production test cars that they used for the development of that car. And he was good friends with the developer, the engineer who did pass away at the Nürburgring, not on the track itself, but outside there, got in a crash. And he was able to keep that car, which is a really cool story. And it's one of the very rare few cars that was used in development of the LFA program. So kind of cool.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's
good for you.
As a car nerd, that is one of the big cool cars that have come out in the last 10, 15 years that a lot of technology went into it. Crazy engine, and a lot of carbon fiber tech in that car. And here we go with an actual drift battle now. Shut up, Ryan.
Yuichi Amagai and Murayama. Amagai qualified very well, 6th place. Let's see if he can mimic that in his lead run. Uh-oh, Murayama falling off, not really following him after initiation, having to play catch-up now, and Amagai, really good job in outside zone 1, gets to the touch and go. Looks like he decelled pretty much in the right place there, just dropped a tire, but a solid lead run out front from Amagai. This looks very much like that mirrored run, a little bit of a slow transition to that final inside clip, but Murayama was not really a factor in the chase. And we'll have to make up some ground in his lead run. Let's take a look at it again.
Murayama just looked a few steps behind through this whole run. He wasn't able to match the pace. He wasn't able to match the line. As you can see, the initiation from Amagai there, really solid. Got the car to angle nicely. He's maintaining that angle through outside zone 1, which he filled pretty well. And that's where you see Murayama falling off. And then you can see there that Amagai drops 1 tire at the outside zone 2 area, but does a really good job on outside zone 3. The tire drop really didn't affect him all that much, and he was able to get through there pretty well. He kind of has a slow transition at inside clip 1, but overall, pretty good run from Amagai, while Masuyama is just struggling to keep up in the chase position. So something that he's going to have to fix here as he goes into the lead position is his accuracy. So Murayama's got to put together a really nice, clean lead run, because Amagai just put together a clean lead run. That's kind of the benefit of leading first, qualifying higher, is you get to set the pace. You are in the lead position first, and you set the level that the chase driver, when they go into the lead, has to match or better. So if you run a really high quality lead run off the bat as the first lead driver, being that higher qualified driver can give you some advantages there, as the chase driver that then goes into the lead has to do as good or better as you, and that's sometimes a very difficult thing to do. First of all, you need to get that information relayed to you, so you have to have a good spotter that's going to give you that info and say, you know, you need to fill zone 1 better than he did. You got to get in it better. You have to do a better job in your transitions than he did, and it's sometimes difficult to transmit that info, and it's also difficult to actually do that, the bidding of the spotter that's going to tell you what to do as well. Now, chase to chase, I think that Amagai just has to stay close and mimic, and he should be able to win the chase to chase comparison.
Well, we will probably find out on this run here. Absent of one more time. Nice little mirroring effect there from Amagai, sticking back a little bit now, looking for an opportunity to attack as Murayama gets into the zone a little bit late but deep. Transitioning from the touch and go, and now getting into that final section of the course, the crossover. Not the greatest chase from Amagai, now putting the pressure on towards the end, but left a little bit to be desired, especially on that first outside zone, Ryan. As we take a look one more time and break this down here from the position of Amagai in the chase.
Amagai was closer, no doubt, but he wasn't really mimicking super well. You can see on the initiation there, pretty nicely timed initiation, but as we go through outside zone 1, you'll see Murayama getting into and overstepping it slightly, while Amagai is a little bit on the inside, and then right there you can see he's not really mimicking with proximity what the lead driver is doing. But he does do a pretty good job of maintaining that proximity through the second half of the course. So I think Amagai did do a better job later on. It's just early on there, outside zone 1, didn't quite match what Murayama was doing, and then transitioning to the touch and go, he was a little bit behind, but really closed it up and cleaned it up in the second half. And of course, Murayama, we know, in his chase run, wasn't close and didn't have any proximity with no mimic through the majority of the course there. So Amagai overall does do a better job and gets the win.
And a unanimous win at that. All 3 judges agreeing that Yuichi Amagai did enough to get the victory there. He'll move on to the top 16, and that will take us to our final battle in the top 32. If you're just joining us here, we have Masuyama, Andrew Gray, Minowa, Ueo, and Yamashita. All 5 championship contenders making it into the top 16, so nobody out of the championship chase thus far. Our final battle finds Yoshichika Tamagawa taking on the Singaporean of Benjamin Cheam.
What are the chances? 2 Supras in competition, and they're both going up against each other in top 32.
Oh, you know, in a sense, that's kind of too bad.
It is.
I'd like to see, you know, maybe.
Well, at least one of them's going to make it in. We know that.
We do know that. And Yoshichika Tamagawa had a tremendous day yesterday. He missed his first run in qualifying. He actually called the competition timeout, so he does not come into today's competition with that in his toolbox. However, when he did come out for a second qualifying run, he pretty much smashed it, and he took a lot of risks, as you would maybe not expect, trying to find, you know, a conservative middle-of-the-road approach, but he came in at the 11th place qualifying spot, so very impressive from him. Let's see what he can do. Backing it up here, Cheam, we know he's got the speed and the grip. Tamagawa gets into that zone a little bit late, overextends a little bit past the rumble strip. Cheam looking for an opportunity to attack here. He's on a slightly shallower line to outside zone 2 and 3. Angles up a little bit as he closes the door, but Tamagawa in front transitions nicely to that final inside clip and gets through the finish line. So a bit of a back and forth battle here with maybe Tamagawa getting slightly the edge for the lead driver responsibilities, but let's take a look.
Yeah, nice use of angle by Tamagawa throughout the course. It looked really settled, and he was able to maintain it. Initiation was pretty solid there. It could have been slightly quicker to angle, but really nothing bad to say about it. Oversteps a little bit on outside zone 1. In the chase position, Benjamin is placing his car kind of in the right place, but running lower angle, tighter line for the most part. And then watch this transition right here from Tamagawa. Boom, big angle all the way up the hill. No fluctuations in the angle, no movement in those front wheels at all. Looked really, really great from Tamagawa in the lead. Benjamin was there, but made some errors, right? He wasn't really maintaining the angle through the areas that he should be. Wasn't mimicking the angle as much as we'd like to see from the chase driver throughout the entirety of the course.
Well, a nice crowd on hand here today. We've got the J-Nation car show. We've got the freestyle motocross, tons of vendor booths, and a lot of good food here with some great trucks, actually. I visited a few myself yesterday, had a nice ice cream with sprinkles on it. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that, Ryan, and
yeah.
I'm extremely jealous of that now.
I'm very happy about it, given our sequestering and all.
We drove to Mossburger and had a strawberry milkshake.
Yeah, I had to turn you guys down. I had too many vanilla gels at dinner.
It was a 45-minute drive. 45, but it was worth it. We had fun.
Final run here, potentially, of the top 32. Who's it going to be, Benjamin Cheam or Yoshichika Tamagawa? Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
Go.
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Do it.
Here we go. Benjamin Cheam in the lead. Trying to mimic him is Tamagawa. Surging forward. Cheam, big smoke line, gets into that zone a little bit late, but stays right at the rumble strip. Tamagawa falling back for a second. He's going to be off outside zone 2, but closing the door here. And Cheam, it looks like he had a little bit of trouble there. He's going to go off course into the grass and into the wall off camera.
What happened?
It looked like something was brewing with Benjamin Cheam. He immediately takes the straps off, opens the door. Ryan, it looked like we started to see the initial stages of some kind of problem from Cheam near outside zone 3. Walk us through it.
Yeah. Okay, big initiation from both drivers here. Looked really great from Benjamin up front. Tamagawa's right there with him. Falls off a little bit. Benjamin does a good job there in the second half of outside zone number 1. Good job on outside zone number 2. And right here you can see he lost some angle.
Slows down.
And then he gets into maybe it's just a power delivery issue. And then he tries to slow the car down, cranks those front wheels to the right to try to avoid going off course, but ends up understeering off the track. So I don't know if it was a power delivery issue that caused him to start to straighten and then have to try to fix that error by cranking the wheel to the right there to stay on track.
And Tamagawa rightly does the correct thing of avoiding contact with Cheam during that slowdown, wraps around him, but I would assume that you guys would call that run incomplete as soon as the straightening happened there from Cheam, thus resulting in an incomplete run there.
Yeah, for sure. That was totally on Benjamin up front, and once that occurred, the run is over, and you can't blame Tamagawa for trying to avoid either following him in or making his own error that would cause him to crash as well. So that will be definitely totally on Benjamin on his own there. Yeah, so we're just hearing that our tech guy Kevin is asking if we could see in the replay what occurred to Benjamin's car. Maybe there was a problem with the left rear or something like that, but we could not see that from our position.
It looked like, I thought something on the front right maybe. That's what I'm going for.
We have a lot of a lot of assumptions here right now.
Yeah, a lot of claims.
A lot of claims. We'll see what happens later, but for now, all we know is that Benjamin understeered off the course, made contact with the wall, and he'll be done for today.
Yoshi Chika Tamagawa, your official winner, moving on into the top 32 in our final battle of the round. That fills our bracket, Ryan, and it looks like we've got some doozies in the top 16. It's about 10:45 here local time in Japan in the morning. As we stated, we'll be back at 1:40 p.m. Japan Standard Time for the beginning of opening ceremonies. Thank you very much for joining us for this round of 32. It's a beautiful day here for the 5th and final round of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. And today we will crown a 2019 champion. Is it going to be Matsuyama or Shinji Minowa? Or will we see Andrew Gray make it 4 and unprecedented titles in his FD Japan career? Or will it be Koichi Yamashita, who's been breathing down the back of his neck for the majority of the season? Finally, we've got an outsider in Katsura Ueda, who's currently in 5th place, who still has a mathematical chance. But we will find out the answers to all those questions and much more as we come back in the top 16 in a little bit. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in just a bit.
実証雨に強いタイヤ横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜革新のカーボンベゼルBluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオThe brightness, called brilliant. Valendy. Jisho, 雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる。止まる。止まる日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜革新のカーボンベゼルBluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオThe brightness, called brilliant. Valendy.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Grid.
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
究極の静かさと安全性。オンロード、オフロード、世界中で活躍するケンダ。その信頼を支える静音性、安定性と対摩耗性。世界が認めた技術と信頼を街乗りでも。高品質と納得の価格、タイヤのポテンシャルをあなたに。ケンダ。
伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮。チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC。
モティ
The brightness, called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valentine.